Hello again. So this project is going to be working with foam. Working with foam, I have a project that will be uploaded into Canvas, and this is in your Canvas in the notes. I'm going to go quickly through what this project entails and how it would work with foam for us. So working with foam, I'm going to start out with a panel of expanded foam, which is the bead foam. And this expanded foam, I'm able to mark out different shapes and carve and create it into different things. One example is maybe I wanted to create like a barn door or a very convoluted door. I could also do brick wall. So I can create brick wall for scenery out on stage. Another type of brick wall would just be different coloring being used. And one example you've seen in the shop that's way up high on one of the shelves was a large rock wall. What I would do to start creating this foam, a brick wall, was the first thing I would do is start marking out what I want my bricks to look like. Once I have what my bricks look like, then I can either individually cut these out and shape them, or I can create it as one large panel and then carve it after it's been attached to some type of reinforcement. Now these walls have been attached to a Luan backing to give it reinforcement. So all of these panels have been used and glued to the panels. What I suggest first is you would attach this panel first to that Luan backing if you're going to create it as one piece. If you're going to create it as individual bricks, where you cut out each individual brick and then shape it, then you would do that first and then attach to the Luan backing. How would you attach it to the backing? Well, I would use regular craft white glue, and then I would add weight to the top. So say if I'm gluing this one, I would add a panel on top of that one, and then add weight on top of that to create pressure and leave it overnight. So it would need at least 12 hours to adhere to the back. Once it's adhered to the back, then I can start shaping. So again, I would mark out what my wall would look like. Then I would create, I would take tools such as screwdrivers, I would take sandpaper, I would take carving materials called Sure foam carving materials, and also files to actually work my way into this to create a three-dimensional piece. So I'd have the brick would be more protruded out, and then all of these grout lines would be sunken in. So I would carve them in, such as I would also do with rock walls, or like the farm door, I would carve out all of those receding areas with any type of tool that I could use. Sandpaper works well, and also at the very end, if you use a very fine sandpaper, it will make the surface nice and smooth. Once it's all carved out, the next step I would use is I would take cheesecloth, and if you look at cheesecloth, it's originally used to squeeze the water out of cheese, but what we would use it for is a reinforcement that would go on top of your foam. So after you've carved your piece, this cheesecloth would be opened up and placed on top of whatever you carved, whether it be brick or the farm door or rock, and it would be painted down with white paint, which would serve as my base coat. After that has dried, it becomes an extra layer skin that protects the foam from the foam being able to be bumped into and broken apart and carved into smaller pieces. So that cheesecloth creates a barrier, so now I can't break apart the foam, it reinforces it. Why would I do that for the stage? Because actors bump into things, scenery bumps into things. I want to protect it for the life of the show. So that cheesecloth will do that. Once the cheesecloth has dried onto the foam, that protective barrier is now ready to be painted with your treatment. And your treatment would be, what is your color scheme for your bricks, whether it be a red brick wall with highlight and shadow. And then once that's dried, it's ready to be placed on stage. So instead of creating real bricks that may weigh tons of weight out on stage, we can create something that looks like a brick wall, but weighs practically nothing and has been reinforced with the cheesecloth so I can't break apart that foam. This is the foam project that would be done here in Stagecraft.